students, welcome you all to the online learning class for the subject Fundamentals of Agricultural Economics. Today we are going to see about the concept production. So in previous class we have seen about consumptions and the theory of consumer behavior, the law of diminishing marginal utility and the law of equal marginal utility and the law of demand, etc. we have seen. Now we are going to see about the concepts related to production, and we are going to see about production curve. So production is producing goods and services by the producers. So it is a process of producing goods and services by the farmers or producers. Let's see in detail in the next slide. So when we say that the farmer is producing, like when we take an example of paddy, so how he is producing this paddy crop? So he uses various inputs like seed, water, chemicals, machineries and fertilizers. So these things are used for production of paddy. So this is called as the production process. So it is also defined as process of transforming various inputs into output. So we are transforming these inputs into a particular output. Let's say that another example of dairy. So dairy unit, we give various inputs like dry fodder, green fodder, concentrates, etc. and we get milk as production, milk as the product. So this is also called as production. And in other industries also, when we tell about textile industry, we use the producer uses yarns, labors and buildings, machineries, etc. and they get the output as cloths, and that are all distributed to the people. So when when the production process creates goods and services, they also create utility. That means they create cloths or milk or paddy which have utility for the consumer. So it is also known as creation of utility. So when the production happens, it creates utility. When the consumption happens, we consume the products and destruction of utility happens. So why we have to study production in our economics is, we know that economics deals with allocation of scarce resources in order to get maximum benefit. So these scarce resources like fertilizer, seed, chemicals, machineries, etc. are to be allocated in such a way that to get maximum profit. So these inputs are also known as factors of production. These inputs are like factors of production. So let's see about production function. So we know that these various inputs are the causes of a particular output. So we can tell that this output is function of various inputs. When we consider output as y and input as x, we will get the equation like y equal to function of x, or y equal to function of the inputs, various inputs, seed, fertilizer, chemicals, etc. are mentioned here. So when we see this is a production function, so it is written as a function here. So this input causes the output. So therefore y is function of input, the output is function of input. Okay, then we can define the production function as a mathematical representation. because y equal to f of x is a mathematical representation of technical relationship. We know that this relationship is technical because when we input seed or fertilizer, we are going to get the output yield. So that is why it is called technical relationship. So between various inputs and output. So it is defined as mathematical representation of very technical relationship between various inputs and output. So then we can say about classical production function. Classical production function uses only one variable input, so keeping all other inputs as such. We know that the ceteris paribus condition. So in ceteris paribus condition, we keep all other things that we don't require as constant. So similarly here in production function also only one variable input is changed, keeping all other inputs as such. Let's say that only one input such as fertilizer can be changed, keeping all other things constant like seed rate and water, labor and machineries usage, everything as fixed, and only we are going to change this fertilizer, and we are going to see how this yield changes. That is what classical production deals with, and we will see the classical production curve also. So before going to classical production function or curve, we have to learn some concepts like TPP, APP and MPP. So TPP is nothing but total physical product. So it is the total physical product we get when we use the input X. So when we apply nitrogen, how much output we are getting, that is total physical product, how much output we are getting, that is nothing but Y. So we know that output is Y. So TPP equal to output equal to Y. So when we have to find TPP, we need not calculate anything. We can take just Y as TPP. Then average physical product. Average physical product is calculated by the formula output divided by input. So we can have an example like when we are using a bike, and when someone is asking about what is the mileage, average mileage, we will tell him that 70 kilometer per liter. So 70 kilometer per liter. So it is the average. So we will tell that the bike is giving 70 kilometer per liter. Similarly, the average physical product also tells us that when we use 1 kg of nitrogen, how much paddy we are getting, how much average paddy we are getting. So it is 5 kg. Let's say an example of 5 kg. So this is average physical product. So how much average we are getting for using this input. So it is calculated by output divided by input. So we know that 70 kilometer is the output due to the input 1 liter. Similarly, 5 kg is the output due to the input of nitrogen, 1 kg of nitrogen. That is the average physical product. Now we will say about marginal physical product. We know that marginal means change or additional. When we use additional fertilizers, when we increase another 1 kg of fertilizer, definitely the output will also change. Definitely when we increase further, the output will change. So when we increase the fertilizer, automatically the output will increase. So that is denoted by change in output divided by change in input. So change is represented as delta and output is y, then divided by change in input is written as delta x. So the average physical product is calculated by the formula y by x, and the marginal physical product is calculated by delta y by delta x, that is change in y divided by change in x. Now let's say about elasticity. So we know that elasticity is the responsiveness of a variable due to the change in another variable. Here we have two variables, one is y and one is x. So when we change x, the y changes. So when we increase the fertilizer, the yield changes. When we decrease the fertilizer, the yield changes. That means it responds for change in one variable. So it has some elasticity, and it is calculated by the formula elasticity of production equal to proportionate change in yield or output divided by proportionate change in input. So this proportionate change, we know that the proportionate change is calculated for output is delta y divided by y. For this proportionate change in input is delta x divided by x. So when this delta x comes here, we get this formula delta y by delta x, and this y goes up. So we get x into y. So when this delta x comes here, this is dividing. So when this delta x comes here, this y goes up. So we get this formula. We can say that it is the delta y by delta x is nothing but the MPP. So we can see from the previous slide that it is MPP. So and x by y is nothing but APP, 1 by APP. So we can see that, so delta y by delta x is MPP and y by x is APP, therefore x by y is 1 by APP. So we can simplify them, and we can finalize the formula as elasticity of production equal to MPP divided by APP. So we can easily find the elasticity by dividing these two, MPP divided by APP, or else we can also use this formula. So we know, if we know the formula here, we can use the formula, or else we can just divide these two things and we can get the elasticity. So how much responsiveness is the change in output is recorded, we can measure. So we know the magnitude also, when it is greater than 1 and when it is less than 1, or when it is equal to 0, everything we know. We have seen in the last class in elasticity of demand and elasticity of supply. Now we move to the classical production curve. So classical production curve involves only one input. As we discussed earlier, it involves only one input and one output. So with the one variable input, rest of the inputs remains constant here. So here we can see that when we increase the nitrogen used, the yield also increases up to a certain point. After that, the yield reduces. So it is the common nature. Even when we give feed to the cattle, it will fetch us only a limited quantity of milk. it won't give much, because there is limitation for everything. So when we produce paddy, when we give fertilizer, it will produce maximum quantity only. So it will up to a certain quantity only. So it will not give, it will not produce a linear function. That means it will not go on increasing. So it will increase and reach maximum, and it will reduce. Our human life also, when we grow, when we mature, and we have declining phase also. In microbes also we can say there are 3 phases: lag phase, log phase, and steady state phase, we know. So similar to that, every living organisms undergo this production curve. So what will happen is, in initial stage it will increase, and it reaches maximum, and it gets declining. So when we apply fertilizer to the paddy field, initially the production will increase, and it will reach maximum, and then it will reduce. Once attaining physiological maturity, it will get the yield will get reduced. So when we apply even more fertilizer. Okay, now let's draw this in the graph, and we will see what is by virtually we can see how TPP is working. So we have taken nitrogen as input x-axis, and output yield, paddy yield, in y-axis. So these were plotted, and we can see the graph. So the yield is increasing, and it reaches maximum here, from here to here, so 15 kg. Then it reduces after this some time period, it reduces. So here we can see that for change in 1 unit, we can see the change of 4 kg rice, 4 kg increase in rice. Here also we can see 3 kg increase in paddy. So similarly it increases. Here 2 kg, here 1, here there is no change, so only 0, and it is here -1, and here it is -2. So from this we see that in initial stages, from here to here, we can say that 3. So 3 units of paddy increases. So the proportionate change means nothing but when we change 1 unit here, how much unit changes occurs there for the another variable, that is the proportionate change. So when we change 1 unit in nitrogen, there is 3 unit change in paddy. So these are all called as increasing returns. So we get increased returns for a constant inputs. So when we see here, the input is reduced. When the input increased, here we get less proportionate output only. So this situation is called decreasing returns, and these 2 returns are we are going to see in the last slide. So just we have to know that when we increase the fertilizer, it won't increase forever. It will reduce, it will stagnate at one place. That is called the maximum yield period, maximum yield place. So that it is known as, this situation is known as law of diminishing marginal utility. So we have seen about law of diminishing marginal utility also, na? When the marginal utility, what it says is, when the person consumes more and more of a good, more and more of mango, the utility derived from additional unit goes on decreasing. We have seen in our previous classes. Similarly, when the person applies more labor and capital in cultivation of a land, causes a less than proportionate increase in the amount of produce raised. The yield will increase, but the proportionate will be very less. For example, when we apply 10 kg of nitrogen, the production will be only 7 kg. So that is why it is called as law of diminishing marginal returns. Law of diminishing marginal returns. So it is similar to our law of diminishing marginal utility. As here, as the consumer consumes more, the utility, additional utility derived is decreasing. Here, when the inputs used is more, the additional return generated is decreases. So in a production process, as one variable input is increased, there will be a point at which the marginal output per unit of input will start to decrease. So that is what LDMR means. So let's see that the production curve. So we know that we have drawn the curve for input and output, that is input yx and output y or TPP. Now we have to calculate APP and MPP and EP, elasticity of production. These three things we have to calculate for drawing the production curve, classical production curve. So APP we can calculate by using the formula y by x. So y is given here and x is given here, and we can easily find the APP. For finding MPP, we have to use the formula delta y by delta x. So delta y is nothing but change in y. So change in y is calculated by the formula current value minus previous value. So current value is 5, previous value is 2. So the delta y is 3, change in output is 3. So here this one is the change in input. Similarly, it is also calculated by the formula change in current value minus previous value. So input changes were similar, only one difference is there, but the output change differs. When we divide these two, we get the marginal physical product, and we can find elasticity also by dividing MPP and APP. So by dividing MPP and APP, we get elasticity of production. So this 2 divided by 2 and 2.5 or 2.5. Normally we don't take this value. We don't take this value because we don't have any previous values. So we don't take this 2. We put dash here. So here also we can put dash. Here also we can put dash. So when we say that the elasticity also can be calculated. So this TPP, we have seen that TPP, APP and MPP, these three can be drawn in a single graph. So by taking x-axis as such, we can draw TPP first, and then TPP first we can draw here, and then we can draw APP. So APP, when when the nitrogen is 1 kg, the APP is 2. When it is 2, it is 2.5. When it is 3, it is 3. So for that, it is drawn here. So this is the APP curve. Then now MPP is drawn. So MPP is drawn for the x-axis. So MPP is drawn here. This yellow line represents MPP. This orange line represents APP. This blue line represents TPP. So this is we call it as the classical production curve. So based on MPP value, we classify this production curve into 3 stages. We classify this production curve into 3 stages. So first stage is when MPP equals APP. When MPP equals APP. So this is where the first stage ends. So then the second stage is when MPP equal to 0. We draw a line where MPP equal to 0. At third stage, it is when MPP becomes negative. When MPP becomes negative. So based on MPP, we separate the production curve into 3 stages. First stage where MPP equal to APP. Here we can say that the yellow line and the orange line crosses. That means this value is same, 3. So when these two were equal, it is known as the first stage, end of first stage or beginning of second stage. So when MPP is equal to 0, it is known as end of second stage or starting of third stage. So two lines were drawn where MPP equal to APP and MPP equal to 0, and the stages were mentioned as first stage, second stage and third stage. So similarly in this area we have to mention the stages. So it is mentioned here. So in first stage we can say that the elasticity is greater than 1. Elasticity is greater than 1. We can say that the elasticity is greater than 1. At the end of first stage or beginning of first stage, elasticity equal to 1. And then in second stage it is less than 1. Elasticity is less than 1. And at the end of second stage, the elasticity is 0. And the third stage, elasticity becomes negative. So elasticity, we know that the formula MPP by APP. So elasticity is calculated by the formula MPP by APP. So we can see it from the graph. We can see the graph here. MPP is higher. This yellow line is higher. That is MPP. So higher than APP. So when MPP is higher than APP, we will absolutely get values more than 1. So here the elasticity will be more than 1. At this stage, at the end of the first stage, we know that MPP and APP are equal, 3, 3. So here we get the elasticity as 1. When MPP and APP are equal, it is absolutely the elasticity will be 1. Then when in the second stage, we know that we can see that the orange line is higher, that is APP is higher than MPP. So when APP is higher and MPP is low, we will get the value less than 1. So here the elasticity is less than 1. So at the end of this second stage, we can see that MPP is 0 and APP is some value. So when we apply it in the formula, MPP is 0 means the whole value is 0. So the elasticity here is 0. Then at this stage MPP becomes negative and APP decreases. So here also the elasticity is less than 0. We can say that it is less than 0 or negative. So we have to mention the elasticity also in the production curve. So we have to, when we give a practical exercise, we have to find APP, MPP, TPP, and we have to draw these curves, and we have to classify the stages, and then we have to write the elasticity also. So that is what we did an example here. So stage 1, we will see each stage by stage. In stage 1 we can see that individually TPP, about TPP is increasing at increasing rate. For 1 unit change, here 3 unit changes, 4 unit changes, and here 3 unit changes. So up to this point, this point is called point of inflection. This point is called point of inflection, where up to this point this TPP is increasing at increasing rate. So increasing at increasing rate. So after this it increases but at decreasing rate. So here 3 and here it increases at increasing rate to 4. Here it increases but at a decreasing rate. So this is what the TPP curves nature is. Now let's see about MPP. So MPP is yellow line. So MPP, what happens to MPP curve is the MPP increases, reaches its maximum. That is, we call it as point of inflection, and it decreases. And let's see about APP. APP increases. And reaches its maximum when it meet the MPP curve. So APP reaches maximum when APP equal to MPP. So elasticity, we know that we've seen in the last slide itself, elasticity is greater than 1 since MPP is greater than APP. So this stage is irrational stage. Irrational means it doesn't give us a proper solution, because when we apply input, when we increase the input, the production is increasing. So the farmer or the producer will try to increase the product only. So it doesn't tell us where to stop the production. So that is why it is called as irrational stage. Now the same has been given as written here. So TPP, it increases at increasing rate up to point of inflection, and after that it increases at decreasing rate. Then MPP. So MPP increases and reaches maximum up to that point is called as point of inflection. That is MPP max. MPP maximum is called as point of inflection, and then decreases in the first stage. Then APP increases and reaches maximum when MPP equal to APP. We have seen in the graph. So elasticity, it is increase is greater than 1 and at the end it is 1. Then second stage is this one. This stage is second stage. So in second stage we can see that this TPP increases and reaches maximum. So TPP increases and reaches maximum. So the maximum is 15 kg here. So increases but at decreasing rate. The TPP increases at decreasing rate. So when the input increases, the output increases but at a low proportion. That is what it means. So then APP is reducing. That means it decreases but never attain 0. So it decreases only. Then the third one, MPP decreases and reaches 0. So in the beginning of second stage, the MPP decreases and reaches 0. So this point MPP equal to 0 or TPP equal to maximum is called as physical optimum. Physically, this is the maximum yield a farmer can get. So that means when we apply 7 kg of nitrogen in our field, we can get maximum of 15 kg paddy. That is the physical optimum, physically maximum yield we can get. So this is calculated by TPP max or MPP equal to 0. When MPP equal to 0, we can tell it as it is the maximum yield. So here in this stage, MPP is less than APP. That is why the elasticity is less than 1. And at the end of the stage, it gets 0. So we will see the written here. So TPP increases at decreasing rate and reaches maximum. That is 15 kg we have seen. So that is called as physical optimum. And MPP decreases and reaches 0. MPP, we'll recap that what MPP is. The change in output due to the change in input. Change in output due to change in input. So there is no change means when we increase the input, let's say that we increase 10 kg of nitrogen, there is no response of output means there is no use of using the fertilizer. That is why we have to stop the production now. So it does tell us that where to stop the production. So in the graph we can say that it is 7. So when it is 7, the MPP is 0. When it is 0, we can stop the production. Because additional units will not give us any production. So that is why it is called as rational stage. So the stage 2 is called as rational stage. And then APP, when we say about APP, it decreases. When we say about elasticity of production, it is less than 1 and at the end it reaches 0. So as we have seen in the graph. The third stage, this third stage starts from here and it is endless. So here the TPP decreases at a decreasing rate. So it slowly decreases. Then MPP becomes negative. MPP is less than 0 or becomes negative. And APP reduces but never attains 0. the average physical product will never attain 0. The elasticity will also be negative, because MPP negative means the elasticity will also be negative. So in stage 3 we can see that TPP is decreasing at decreasing rate, MPP reaches negative, APP decreases and never attains 0, and the elasticity of production is less than 0. This is also an irrational stage, because it doesn't tell us where to stop the production, where to stop applying. So only the stage 2 tells us that where to stop the production. So stage 2 is regarded as rational stage, and stage 1 and 3 are called as irrational stages. So we have seen that in this class up to this point, what is the TPP, MPP and APP curves. So the production curves, the first stage is where MPP and APP meets, the second stage is where MPP equal to 0, and these 3 stages characteristics where we have seen. Now this production curve, or this classical production curve, is also known as law of variable proportions, because we know that TPP or yield increases at increasing rate at the first stage, and it increases at decreasing rate in the second stage and first stage, some part of first stage also, and it decreases at decreasing rate in the third stage. So when we input the fertilizer, there are three different changes, variable proportionate changes. In first stage the proportion is higher, in the second stage the proportion is lesser, and in the third stage it is lesser. So that is why it is called law of variable proportions. So it is not a constant one, it is variable proportions. So based on this, there are 3 law of returns. One is law of increasing return. So the change in X will cause more change in Y. The change in X will cause more change in Y. That is called increasing return, law of increasing return. So here the MPP will be higher, increasing MPP will be there. So law of decreasing return means when we change the input, the output will increase, but it will not be much proportional. So we will get decreasing MPP. And constant return means for the proportionate change will be there. So when we change 1 unit, here also 1 unit will change. So constant MPP we can get. So this is law of variable proportion or production curve, classical production curves. So today we have seen about the classical production curve. What is production? First we have seen, and the production function, a classical production function with one variable we have seen, and how to find TPP, APP, MPP and the elasticity of production we have seen, and we have calculated in the table, and we have drawn the graph, and we have demarcated the 3 stages, and we have discussed the nature of the 3 stages. So thank you all.